Today we are going to be discussing how to create a writing prompt aligned to the Common Core. The objective for this lesson is that participants will be able to develop a writing prompt aligned to the Common Core standards. First, I want to start with the true or false question. Is this a Common Core anchor standard? Rate arguments to support claims and analysis of substantive topics or text using valid reasoning and relevant and sufficient evidence. The answer is true. This is the first writing anchor standard W.1, which is rate arguments to support claims and analysis of substantive topics or texts using valid reasoning and relevant and sufficient evidence. Writing is a skill that all students need to master in order to become college and career ready. In order to have our students write and respond appropriately to a task, we as teachers must first know how to develop and assess a writing prompt. Regardless of your grade or content, students must be capable of developing an argument and supporting their reasoning with evidence. It is important that we as teachers are able to create effective writing prompts because without pre-planning and designing an appropriate prompt, it is likely that our students will not fulfill our expectations. Therefore, we need to ensure that we fulfill certain requirements in designing the prompt before we present it to the students. Before assigning a writing prompt based off their first writing standard, you should review this checklist. First, do the students have a solid understanding of the content that they will use? Second, does the content or material provide for multiple perspectives or opinions? Third, does the content or material have enough evidence to cite in order to support all viewpoints? And finally, does the content or material allow for a counterclaim, specifically for grades 7 through 12? First, do the students have a solid understanding of the content that they will use? The first step in developing a prompt aligned to the first writing standard is to ensure that students have a solid understanding of the content they are learning. This is critical because students need to develop opinions or claims based on the content and use evidence to support their reasoning. If students do not have a solid understanding of the content, then their opinion or claim might be weak, and therefore they will not be able to support their reasoning with solid evidence, resulting in a futile response. It is important that students understand that although their opinion or claim is important and acknowledged, without strong evidence, it is inadequate. Number 2, does the content material provide multiple perspectives or opinions? Ensuring that the material is capable of producing multiple perspectives or claims is essential in order to allow students to independently develop a strong opinion or a claim. If the material only allows for one perspective, then the student writing will not be as unique or strong, since they can and will simply restate what they learned. Therefore, they will not develop their own opinion or claim, defeating the purpose of the task. By providing material that allows for multiple perspectives and opinions, the students will have to sift through the content in order to develop their own claim. Number 3. Does the content or material have enough evidence to cite in order to support all viewpoints? Not only is it important that the material provide the ability to have multiple perspectives, but also that there is enough evidence to support any conclusion that is drawn. Similar to sifting through the material in order to develop a claim or opinion, students should have to evaluate multiple pieces of evidence in order to determine whether or not it is important and reliable in order to support their claim. Therefore, the teacher must ensure that the materials provide ample amounts of evidence that can be used to support the student's claim or opinion. It is important to note that the material does not have to be in the form of text, but can be video, images, or class activity. Finally, number 4, does the content and material allow for a counterclaim, specifically in grades 7 through 12? According to the Common Core Standard, W.9.10.b, students must be able to develop claims and counterclaims fairly, supplying evidence for each while pointing out the strengths and limitations of both in a manner that anticipates the audience's knowledge level and concern. Therefore, if you are a high school teacher, the material must provide for at least 2 opposing viewpoints in order for the students to develop their own claim as well as a counterclaim. This step links directly back to step number 3, since it is imperative that there is enough evidence in the material to not only support a claim, but a counterclaim as well. Once you have completed the checklist and have deemed the material appropriate for a writing task, asking the students to develop a claim or opinion, it is now time to develop the prompt. Since you are asking students to develop an opinion or a claim about a topic, the prompt should be written in the form of a question. Some examples of prompts include: should the United States bid to host the future Olympic Games? Was Napoleon Bonaparte a hero or a villain? What is the most effective renewable energy? And should students be allowed to chew gum in school? All of these prompts have at least two possible claims or opinions, and within each, the students have numerous amounts of evidence that can support either side. It is also important that you provide students with the writing requirements when completing their response. An example of this is: in your response, make sure you include a claim, evidence to support your claim, analysis of your evidence, and a counterclaim. A final writing prompt might look something like this. Answer the question: should the United States bid to host future Olympic Games? In your response, make sure you include a claim, evidence to support your claim, analysis of your evidence, and a counterclaim. While a written response might be feasible for all material, when creating a writing prompt that assesses the first anchor standard, it is imperative that the material address all the attributes for creating an effective writing prompt. As you review your week and reflect on the material that you will be teaching, think about how you can create a writing prompt from the content. Important questions to ask yourself are: do the students have a solid understanding of the material? Does the content of material provide for multiple perspectives or opinions? Does the content of material have enough evidence to cite in order to support all viewpoints? Does the content material allow for a counterclaim? If you cannot answer yes to all of these questions, what changes do you need to make in order to develop an effective writing prompt?